Hey, what's up, YouTube? What's up to all my friends and family on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all the other social platforms that I got knocked off of? Man, I really miss you guys. Miss being able to interact with you. And if you guys need to get a hold of me, just get a hold of my wife, Heather. She's still an admin there in the Black Sheep Society group. And I am still trying to monitor through her right now. But as of right now, I think they've got me locked down to my IP address. So it's not like just creating another name. So I'm having a little bit of a hard time. And it sucks. It's a little bit lonely. But, I wanted to talk to you about something that's really helped me. And, really kind of going back to this ground zero in my mind, and really what I can only tell you is my own subjective experience and what I've seen. And so this is from my perception. You can take what you like and get rid of what you don't like or whatever. But what I saw is I really am now coming from this place of the I don't know. And as I work my way backwards, I kind of come to this place of the isness and the allness of what has been and what has always been, the essence of all things. Some people would say creator, source, but I think it's even bigger than that. I think that there's a layer even before we got down to seeing ourselves as separate and telling ourselves a story that we weren't good enough, where we begin to perceive ourselves in a depreciated way that led us to live all these thousands of years through this lens of sin or mistaken identity until now. Until we're actually waking up to our origin and we're seeing how history and science and the ancient texts, all of them are starting to line up. We're starting to have this critical thinking and actually macro out, where we're seeing things from kind of like this bird's eye view now, where it's not just so microed in, where it's just about the details. We're actually seeing a bigger narrative. And what's cool about it is all the egregores of the world that you see, whether it's, the egregore of religion or the egregore of spirituality or the egregore of politics, the egregore of, finance and all the systems of man and all these other things that rule the world. What you'll see is you'll see the repeating patterns, the same things in them over and over again. So for example, one of the ways that we are learning how to be in the world but not of the world is by now seeing it from the creator role, right? We're not just this player in this game of life. We're actually the creator. We're remembering our origin. We're remembering that we are the allness. There is nothing lacking inside of us. But where we get held up is in the appearance realm. And we get stuck in the simulation. It's through our attachments. It's through all those things that we attach our identity to that has, basically been a way for us oftentimes just to bypass ourselves and not face ourselves and embrace the parts of ourselves where we feel like we're not good enough. Because in all reality, we've all come back to this place of this interconnectedness. And we all understand that we are this energy slowed down to visibility, right? We're 99.99999% pure energy, pure light. We're only 0.00001% matter. Matter is energy slowed down to visibility. So what we see of this world right now does not even represent 1/1000th of a percent of the reality of who and what we are. And we're not even perceiving 0.5 of a percent of that. So what am I saying? I'm saying what we have to do right now is use what we have. Use what we got. We are macroing out. We are seeing the same storyline over and over and over again throughout all religions, throughout all spiritualities, through a lot of different things that either go two ways. They either point you back to yourself and tell you that you're the one that you've been looking for and the answers lie within, or they get manipulated and twisted and we get sold back something that we already have had in a Happy Meal, and we dress it up and we can call it whatever, Christianity or Mormonism or Judaism, all of these things. But even within those stories and within those narratives, you can see the same breadcrumbs. And so I like to kind of think of it, back when I was doing all the cemetery stuff, the seminary, and I would read, I remember when they would talk about hermeneutics and they would say, well, you need to have good hermeneutics. In other words, you don't just take, and really what they're saying is you need to have good hermeneutics or understanding of how to interpret scripture based upon the parameters that we've told you that you can interpret it on. That's what they should have said. But I got the point, because I've always kind of been like this big picture thinker. And what I begin to understand, it's about seeing the prevailing themes taking shape over and over and over again in my life, in my story, seeing it, I don't care what book it is. I'm not looking for the one-liners anymore. I'm not looking for the epiphanies. I'm not trying to do something in order to be something, because what I understand is all of that falls underneath that isness, that cosmic energy that can't be created and it can't be taken away. All it can be done, all it can do is be reshaped. It can be reformed. That's why we are the allness and the isness of all things, experiencing ourselves in every possible way through, what did I say? Energy slowed down to visibility, and it creates matter. And that's what takes our shape. So I almost see it like this giant cosmic blanket that's ever expanding. I have to break it down to my 3D mind. And it's like, you know, any type and shape or form that you could possibly think or imagine, within it, it can take on those shapes and forms. And the irony of all of this is that what we are doing is we are finding a way back to ourselves. We are kind of this brokenness pretending to, you know, this wholeness pretending to be brokenness in this game that we call life. Why are we doing it? And I think really what it is I think what we're doing is we're living life in reverse. We're basically just living a one now moment. Before there was even a second, before there was even a concept of linear time, we saw it. And what we are doing is just kind of living life in reverse, slowing it down kind of in slow motion, so that we can subjectively experience every part of ourselves, so that at the end of that instantaneous moment that's already occurred, right? What we know is that we are just bringing kind of the solid foundation to that. That means that we try everything. We've tried every angle, every perception. We've tried spirituality. We've tried religion. We've ran to people. We've ran to things. We've ran to money. We've used fear to be able to dominate, manipulate, and control people ourselves. We've lived our lives in separation. We've made decisions now that we're like, oh God, if I only knew now what I didn't know back then. You know, all of us are kind of at the same point. But here's the thing that you have to understand, that nothing is wasted. Everything is how it should be. And when you get out of the attachments and you just understand that everything that is happening on a bigger scale is leading us closer and closer to us not only waking up to our origin, but learning how to be divinity, learning how to be all of these things that we've created in our mind through storylines and narratives to keep us safe. You got to remember, we are it. So there is no limitation to us. So all of those things will take shape and they'll take form, and we'll continue to explore ourselves for all infinity, because there is no beginning, there is no end to us. We are the fullness of time, basically slowing ourselves down so that we can be able to experience and see and gaze in on ourselves. And so that's why I just know that when bad stuff happens, I just stop trying to figure it out. I'm stopped trying to blame. I stopped trying to, I do take responsibility and try to look in the mirror, you know, and see what's actually going on, because usually I'm a big part of that. But what I also understand is the good news of all of this is that it's going to be okay. Everything's going to work out, because what we saw in that one now moment when we first saw ourselves was us resonating at our highest potential of authenticity. And it's at that place of authenticity that you're in the place of presence. And it's in that place of presence that you haven't even defined what love is, because you're not even judging it. You're just experiencing it, and you're just letting it flow with you. You are the rhythm. You are the beat. You are all of the harmony that you need to be able to experience the fullness of that expression of what we consider that one now second, or whatever it is. Like, guys, remember, all of this is us just trying to make sense with the breadcrumbs that we have, with the information, with the knowledge that we have at this time, trying to kind of figure things out. But what we're also understanding is it's bringing us back to this place of being responsible. It's bringing us back to this place of having to deal with kind of some of the stuff that we don't want to deal with, because honestly, sometimes we don't even know what we're dealing with. We're just dealing with stuff. It's just coming up. It's just bubbling up. And so what constantly gives me peace in those moments is realizing that everything is just basically how it should be. Okay, I can't mess it up. You can't mess it up. There is no right or wrong experience, because every experience is the right experience in the grand scheme of everything. The only thing we're here to do is get out of the appearance realm and stop looking at the outcomes of things and start looking at the perceptions of them. Because if all of this has been about us being able to experience ourselves, then maybe it's about a perception. Maybe it's about an outlook. Maybe it's about us getting out of this narrow-minded thinking and thinking that our way is the only way, because we have attached our identity to our feelings and to our emotions, and we are yet to embrace that part of ourselves that we have forsaken because of fear of not wanting to go down that rabbit hole. You see, those are the things that we're being drawn into right now. We used to say back in the spiritual days, we're being drawn into the deep. Well, you are deep because you are endless. You are infinite. You are a well that never runs dry. You are a well that has no beginning. It has no end. All those things that we said in the construct of who we thought even God was, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end, the bishop of our souls, the chiefest among 10,000, all of these names, the chief cornerstone, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, like all of these names that we had, you can micro down on those. Or you can macro out and you can say, okay, let's see what the bigger story is. And when you really macro out and you don't just look at it from, say, the lens of religion that you came through, which for me would be Christianity, but I macro out of that. I macro out of all the offshoots of that. I macro out of all the way to the place of, okay, where did religion get formed? How was it formed? How was it created? How was spirituality created? How was all of these things? I'm talking about from a historical context. I'm talking about not from, necessarily with a religious bias, but with scientific proof of what we know right now. And what I see is the same storyline. It takes us back to that place of self. It takes us back to that place of us seeing ourselves for that very first time when we took the deep dive into what we call life, but I like to say the deep dive into duality, because it was about the duality that was inside all of us. It was about all the things that we would now experience inside of ourselves that would make us feel like we had lost ourselves. And we would go on all these wild goose chases trying to find ourselves, creating all these systems and all these governments that rule people in fear because we had no clue how to do that. And instead of embracing ourselves as humanity, what we did is we figured it was easier to separate and to control people and to manipulate people and to hurt people to get them to be able to comply, because after all, we hadn't even complied ourselves. And that's the part that is getting ready to be exposed. The aggregors of the world are about to be exposed. The reality and all the things that we have thought collectively in our mind, a lot of those things are going to begin to manifest in our current realities. We're going to begin to see them. And we're going to begin to say, well, wait a minute. Now that we know what this is, now we understand the power of imagination. Now we understand the power of us coming together and saying, you know what, we've tried it this way. We've done it that way. We've been the knuckleheads. We've done all these other things, but at the end of the day, it still didn't get us anywhere. So this time we are going to be the black sheep. We're not going to bleach ourselves white. We're not going to fit into the crowd because we're not made to fit in. We're made to stand out because we understand our identity. We understand the uniqueness of who and what we are. And so when things go bad, ultimately, what am I saying? Just let it go. You can sit there and put your energy into it. When you can sit there, but at the end of the day, do you have food? Do you have air that you're breathing? Do you have, someplace warm to sleep tonight? Well, many in the world don't. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you got that right now, you're very fortunate. You're very lucky. Just be grateful. And just remember, a lot of our frustrations are really about preference. It's not about what we've done is we've attached our identity to our preferences, but our preferences are often anchored to our feelings. And when we don't know how to self-regulate and we don't know how to control our feelings, then we become a leaf in the wind, and that's how we can go up and down and up and down. And 1 minute up, we're like on a yo-yo, because once again, we're living our life through the appearance realm, and that's where, out of all of this, the most important thing that you can do right now in this season is to turn and to remember yourself. Remember who you are. Remember what you think. And if you don't know what you think, it's probably because you've never asked yourself, well, what do I think? You've never given yourself permission to ask those hard questions because you were told what to think and what to say and how to say something. And if you grew up in religion or anything like that, man, it was even worse, because now if you did ask questions that were just normal questions that any person on the planet would seem like would want to ask, now all of a sudden you've got this demon or this devil that's gotten a hold of your mind because you've asked something that's just an honest question. And so at the end of all of this, guys, just remember, whatever we see, sorry, I don't mean to get you dizzy, I'm spinning, my dog's peeing and I'm spinning, but whatever we see popping up into our reality, we need to understand that at the end of the day, everything is going to be okay. It's all going to work out. We are endless beings. How do we know that? Because like I said, you can't create energy and you can't take energy away, and we know that we are energy slowed down to visibility and formation. And even in that formation of our human body, nothing is wasted. Everything is regenerated. Everything turns into mechanical energy and sources of heat and sources. It's the circle of life, guys, because everything is us. But now what we get to do is we really get to start living our lives for the very first time, not from the lies that have been told to us, not from how we've been programmed, but because we finally gave ourselves permission to value ourselves enough to say, you know what, I am worth it. I am worth going after my dreams. I am worth going after whatever it is that's in my heart to do. I am worth all of those things. And now that I don't have anybody else to blame, the only person I have to blame is really staring me in the mirror, because that's been the big charade the whole time. It's been me all along. It's been you all along. It's been us all along. And you say, well, I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to change, and I don't know how to figure it out. Well, reach out to somebody and ask. That's why we got to keep our black sheep getting stronger and stronger with more and more people, guys, because it's about the times where we're going through the hard stuff that we need people around us that can remind us not of some indoctrination or not of some type of programming, but can remind us of what it is to have a conscious growth mindset. And oh yeah, the very moment you think you got it figured out, buddy, you better watch it. You know, now you've limited yourself even as a deity, you know, let alone the isness and the allness of all the stuff that we're just trying to describe and put labels upon. So that honestly brings me a lot of peace, that I just know that everything is going exactly how it should be. There's no right decision, there's no wrong decision outside of the decisions that I feel inside coming from me, to where now I'm learning how to go with my gut and not just with what I see. And you know what? Will I hit it 9 out of 10? Probably not. Will I hit it 2 or 3 out of 10? I bet you I will. You know? Why? Because I'm learning how to ride a bike for the very first time. I'm learning how to unride a bicycle of how I was taught, and learning how to get back on it and find the joy in it once again. And that is never going to come from not knowing what the destination is. It's going to come from learning that there is no destination, that it is going to be an endless journey for each of us on our own quest in our own life to experience ourselves in every possible way, all making up the greater thread of what you can call source or yourself or the essence of all things, whatever you want to put on it, whatever you want to call ourselves. But guys, we are it. We are it. And so that's why as we come together and we get community together and we're there to uplift each other, now we have to understand we are in the world, but we're not of the world. Now we understand that we're living in a bunch of systems that are still screwing people over through the things that they're using that we just popped out of, and we've got to start having some conversations and saying, okay, well, what are we going to do? Is it just how it is? Or if we really now understand what this is, can we start turning it the other way? Can we start looking and having conversations that are going to come back and reflect the responsibility that we have? Because there ain't nobody coming to save us, that's for sure. But anyways, I love you guys, man. Have a beautiful Memorial weekend. And just remember, you're at the right place at the right time. You're exactly where you need to be. You have been prepared for you to be able to see this one now moment exactly how you need to be able to see it, and you can't mess it up. And it's only going to get better and better from here. So, hey, that's pretty good news, I would say. Have a beautiful night. Talk to you soon. Love you.